Hello, I am John Najarian, and RebelCon 2022 is almost here. We do have a virtual pass. The virtual pass gives you full access to everything, all the streams, the live trading sessions, all of our fabulous keynote speakers. So to learn more about what's going on at RebelCon 2022, whether you're in person or virtual, check out marketrebellion.com/Dallas. Welcome back, folks. This is 3 at 3. And unfortunately, my brother Pete was not able to do the 10:30 a.m. Eastern time, The Take, which is his take on which stories merit the most focus and a couple of unusual activities that he cites every morning on that show. He was off recording with one of the streaming services. So we apologize. He will be back tomorrow, both on his show as well as on our show together at 1 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow, of course, the Rebel Edge. But you're tuned in to 3 at 3. So let's get started. It is September 7th. I had to think about that for a sec, but September 7th, and unusual option activity. If you're a stock investor, all right, I'll explain it. This is activity that we've seen that implies that a large move is expected in that underlying security if they are buying calls. Conversely, if they are buying puts, we're looking for a downside move. So if you're only a stock investor, you would buy on the call side and sell on the put side. Now, option investors, which I would have to believe are most of you, would participate in one way or another in either following the upside bets that are placed by buying at the money calls or out of the money calls. And when puts show up for unusual activity, buying at the money puts or underneath the market, out of the money puts. Anyway, that said, let's get started with today's unusual activity. Whoops, jumped right by it, sorry. Tupperware is the first on our list today. Tupperware, you guys know what they do. I mean, it's pretty ubiquitous. And it's an $8 stock that is moving up, and they're betting that perhaps after a nice pop to the upside today, it sells back off. So they're buying the September 8 puts. They bought 5,000 of those. Now, this Friday is going to be the 9th of September. Obviously, if you're new to this, the third Friday of each month is when regular options for that month expire. If they're noted otherwise, for instance, if it said an 09 or a 9 in front of that September on the statement there, you know that that was option activity that would predict this week something might be happening. These options are by next Friday. Either way, it is fast time decay, because whenever we are in the final 4 weeks of an option's life, that's the fastest time decay. It accelerates daily from those 4th or 5th weeks on, and it really gets steep as you get into the final days. So this is activity, again, that is not for the 9th. It is for the following Friday, regular September expiration. 5,000 calls is 500,000 share equivalent. Big trade. So that's why we followed it. Buying at the money call puts, rather, because these are puts, that's downside bet. Buying at the money puts, and then if it makes that downside whoosh, I'll sell another put against it. 1-to-1. As long as I maintain that 1-to-1 status, no additional risk, no additional margin. All right, Rebel Edge. I spoke of it briefly at the top of the program. Rebel Edge is a streamed program that my brother Pete and I do every Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. It is at 1 p.m. Eastern time. We hit 1 minute macro because that's all the macro is worth, folks. If you guys can tell me how you trade macro other than just buying or selling an S&P 500 future, have at it. That's not our focus. Our focus are individual stocks or ETFs. And we do occasionally trade broad market ETFs. I've got one for you today. But we do the 1 minute macro top of the show, and then we get right into the 4 top stories of the day, our reaction to them. Are they bullish? Are they bearish? And then 2 unusual activities, wind it up with some stock because, or rather sports, because my brother Pete has a sports talk radio show in Minneapolis that goes out on the Odyssey Network and WCCO AM 830 in Minnesota. So let's get started with the second of today's 3 at 3, which is EMB. Now, what's in this? This is the JP Morgan Emerging Markets. You're probably used to seeing an EEM. That's different. This is EMB. It's JP Morgan's version of more or less the same thing. What stocks, what countries are called emerging markets? Well, you see there, Ecuador, Russian Federation, State of Kuwait, Uruguay, Qatar, Petronas Capital Limited. Those are some of the top holdings of this particular ETF, EMB. 20,000 of those December puts with the stock at 84.50 implies strongly that somebody believes this could be going lower. And if generally speaking, the United States is, for instance, moving up interest rates, that's not good for the emerging markets that borrow from us. It's also not good that they don't have the wherewithal to weather some of these storms that for us are bumps in the road. You know, we argue about whether or not we're in a recession or not. When those countries you see on that list are in a recession, they don't argue about it. They're just in because it's pretty ugly. Knock on wood, we're not pretty ugly. We are experiencing, I believe, a recession, and we're through the second part of that recession. It's, of course, 2 quarters in a row of negative growth. I think we'll see 3 quarters in a row of negative growth, but I think, God willing, it will be a shallow recession, but a long one. That's my opinion. 20,000 puts, however, is not an opinion. That is a big investment to the downside. That's 2 million share equivalent. So I want to point out that that's a big bet. All right. If you'd like to join me and one of the best technicians I know, that would be AJ Monty. AJ Monty and I will be on today at the market closed, 4 p.m. Eastern time, talking about his bear market playbook. AJ has made money hand over fist this year as his calls for a swoon in the market obviously came to fruition. Now, we did have a rally and then a sell-off and then a rally, and now we're experiencing another sell-off. And today, a one-day rally. We'll see if it holds. Tomorrow, we have the ECB coming out and probably hitting their markets with a 75 basis point increase. Ouch. AJ will break down why he sees bearish things still after he has already called for bearish moves all year. Tune in. It's free. You just need to go to marketrebellion.com to register. We encourage you to register and then join us live. If you can't join us live, or even if you can, we will send you a copy of the discussion of that Zoom, basically to the email that you provide. It's all free. We encourage you to tune in tomorrow, or rather today. What am I saying tomorrow? Today at 4 p.m. Eastern time. All right. And the last trade of the day is DIBS. What do? Well, as you can kind of see there, sort of like the Real. They are a site. They have auctions and so forth that they run for clothing and jewelry and collectibles of all sorts. So the DIBS stock price was $6.32. Somebody bought 10,000 December 750 calls, which implies strongly that somebody believes a million shares worth, that is, which a million shares of a $6.32 stock would be $6.3 million worth of stock. This implies somebody thinks they're going up for a reason that you could guess as well as I could. Is it mergers and acquisitions? Is it just that they're getting better grip on how to make profits from these items that list on their site? Is it because going into the fourth quarter would be their Super Bowl? All of which could play out, folks. A million share equivalent, because 10,000 option contracts is 1 million share equivalent. Just add 2 zeros to 10,000 and you'll see why. Every option is for 100 shares of stock. That's the secret between you and me. Unfortunately, no, that's not a secret. But perhaps the unusual activity in DIBS is a little more tightly held information. We are the only ones talking about it, and we're citing that for you right here. All right. Thank you for joining me today, folks. Encourage you to check out Virtual RebelCon. It's coming up in just 2 weeks. That will be September 21st through the 24th. We have a golf outing for those in live attendance. We have armadillo races, again, if you're there in person. We have dinners and so forth in person. But if you can't attend in person, well, next best thing is virtual. Join us virtually, save the money on the airfare, save the money on the hotel. Join us virtually. We can have thousands of you do that. Hundreds of you have already signed up for this. Please continue to sign up. It is September 21st through 24th. You get a copy of everything up there on the main stage, folks. You will get a streamed version that you can watch again and again from us to you for Virtual RebelCon 2022. Goes on in Dallas, Texas. Go to marketrebellion.com to secure your spot. Bang. That's going to do it for me. I hope you have a great day, and I will see you tomorrow right back here on Market Rebellion Television.